Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. I feel pretty confident that I don't have to tell you that it is very dark and it is very early on a Wednesday morning. I'm pretty sure my t-shirt is telling you everything that you need to know. Shout out to New Rockstars. Your guys' merch is just awesome, and I love that it always gets here in time for me to rock it for a few of my reviews. But if you don't know what I'm getting ready to talk about or dive into, why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in spoiler-free into Loki, episode 4, the Nexus event. And oh, dude, I love this show so much. It's so freaking good. And I think this is the episode that cements the fact that this is my favorite series so far from Marvel. You know me, I love everything that Marvel puts out and everything that they've put out in the television department. I've really enjoyed. WandaVision was an experiment that just delivered something like you'd never seen before, and by the time you got to the end of that show, just so satisfying. You know, Falcon and Winter Soldier brought us that classic MCU stuff that we were missing, and this show is like a combination of the two, because I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe ties feel deeper and stronger than anything from the other shows, because, I mean, Loki, like, he's been here almost since day one. And I think the show has also just gotten the concept of the miniseries down a little bit better than the other ones. You know, I think both of the other ones took about, a few episodes, being that, WandaVision was 8. It took like to the end of episode 3 to really get going, whereas Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of took the entirety of the first 2 episodes to really set itself up to run. And this show did that right from the jump on the first episode, like established everything it needed to do and was entertaining as all hell right out the gate. And it's just gotten the concept of the miniseries down in the sense that, like, specifically WandaVision, because this one, is making me dive into the comics and dive into, like, some of the older stories and, just where the comic book ties come from for some of this stuff, similarly to what WandaVision did. And it's created that mystery, especially of, like, who's pulling all the strings behind the scenes, in a very similar fashion. But, like, WandaVision just, like, gave us questions every week and didn't really give us answers to a lot of stuff until the end. And then once those answers started coming, oh my gosh, wonderful, wonderful things. Loki is doing exactly what you want from the miniseries. Like, I think the other 2 shows have felt more like mini movie, or extended movies rather, like giant movies, where it's like they fit that, like, more Netflix vibe, where, like, you want to just binge everything at once, and it's like, oh, it's so good. But, like, I also love the weekly format, and this has figured it out. Like, it's got that big overarching question of, like, what's the deal with the TVA, and why is all of this happening? Who's behind it? What are the motivations? And every week we take little chips away from that question. We're slowly digging to an answer that I assume we'll get by the end of the series. But then there's all the other things, right, where we start, like, going, well, what did that mean? Ooh, what could this do? And we start theorizing all the questions that the show is raising. It's finding ways to give really satisfying answers to some of those every week. So you're taking away major payoffs and just things that make you go, God, man, like, yes, like, I was right, or, ooh, I was a little off, okay, I was wrong, but what a really interesting route to go. And what does that mean in the bigger, grander scheme of things? Like, what could this really be trying to do? And this episode maybe does that the best out of all of them so far. I think this is easily my favorite to date, because it hits all the things that make this show so good. Tom Hiddleston, as per usual, is phenomenal. And they give him some different things to do this week that, like, are just really interesting for the Loki character. And, like, if you thought, or I thought, that the first episode had created the most dangerous Loki we'd seen yet, I don't even think we realize how dangerous or how maybe scared we should be of Loki until you get to the end of, like, this episode. Like, you get through this one, you're like, you should be very afraid of this guy. And I love that they gave some of that to Hiddleston this week. And The other thing, too, that we get that I think was missing from last week's episode is that Hiddleston, Owen Wilson back and forth. I am loving Owen Wilson in this show. One, because it doesn't feel like I'm watching Owen Wilson, right? Like, I mean, just from his physical appearance in this show and the things that he's doing. Like, occasionally you'll get, like, a little bit of a classic Wilson vibe to some of his delivery, but he's really become this Mobius character, and I love watching the two of them go at it. And you get that back and forth that you've really come to love those first two episodes back in this one, albeit from a slightly different perspective, but it allows both of the actors to do different things and just really good stuff for what's going on with their stories in general. And then because the TVA is back, we also get all the other folks that we were missing last week. You know, I think this is probably the strongest episode for Gugu Mbatha Raw. You know, where Renslayer plays into this episode and some of the stuff we get to learn about her just gave her some really, really solid moments. Same for Wunmi Masaku. She doesn't get a ton in this episode, but the little bit they give her, like, she is a legitimate scene stealer. Like, when she is on screen, you cannot not pay attention to what Wunmi Masaku is doing. And what they do with B-15 this week was really enjoyable. And again, it's like stuff that I like that they're setting up for these final two episodes. I can't believe that we're already down the final two episodes. But everybody that's back this week came to play, and they brought really interesting things with them about the TVA. And then, of course, there's Sylvie. And I just think Sophia DiMartino is getting better every single episode. And while she obviously had the most to do last week, when she's given screen time this week and what we're able to take away about the character of Sylvie, what we learn, and like I said, what they give her on screen, just like, she is getting better every week, and I can't wait to see what they do with the Sylvie character, because what they've set up with that, I'm like, I need all them things right now. I need that next episode immediately, and that's exciting, man, because it's a character that's obviously very important, and I think it's going to be very important that she is involved in whatever, you know, the finale and conclusion to all of this is, and she's popping in a big bad way this week, which was awesome to see. And you know, outside of just like what they've given the characters, like the entertainment value, the show is just wildly entertaining to watch, whether it's from the production value, whether it's the score, whether it's the script, like everything that's going on and everything we're watching, like it's just, it's hitting that like spectacle cinematic level in a way that's just, I want it on my screen all the time. And the action this week, again, is fantastic. You know, like the first 2 weeks, we were missing a little bit on the action. We got like tidbits of it. And you were like, ooh, they've got some stuff building here. And then last week, man, it was just like all the action, right? I mean, they give you like one each act of that episode. And while we don't get that much of it here, when it arrives and when it hits, oh, dude, like I could watch these Lokis take people on for hours. Just give me a 2-hour movie of the two of them just going down a hallway and taking people out. I'm here for it, man. Like watching Hiddleston and DiMartino and their stunt doubles, you know, just come up with what they're coming up with. It's cool stuff. And where we end up this week, dude, like, one, make sure you stay for the credits. Obviously nothing at the end, but like when you get to the animated or like the cinematic credits are over, we get our first post, and it's a doozy. And like I said, where we end up, like if this was like a 12 episode or a 10 episode like Netflix drop, like this would be the episode. Well, probably last week too, but like last week and this week, if last week didn't do it, definitely this week's episode would be that one where it's just like, I have to hit play now. Like, I need next week's episode right now, man. Like, we're in a really interesting place for our characters, and I just can't wait to see where we go. And the other thing, too, is I think it's one of those things that has hit a little bit in the other episodes, but not as strong as this one. Like, we get some nice emotional beats in this episode. Like, this episode not only got me, like, excited and, like, just pulled me in, but, like, I was emotionally vested in so much of what was going on. Like, there's gonna be some fun reactions for you guys for the spoiler review. But if I don't stop talking, I'm gonna start spoiling. I mean, no, I do not want to do that, especially with a show like this. So those are all the Seaman's non-spoiler thoughts on Loki Episode 4, the Nexus event. No, well, I guess that's the other thing too, man. I love the fact that the titles on this show like operate on multiple levels. Like, the meaning of something like the Variant episode or the Nexus event, like, it means more, like, there's different ways you can take it, and what we learn from the episode and how it applies to the title. God, like, I'm telling you, man, the show is something special. But those are all. I'm stopping. I'm stopping for real now. We're getting the C-Maniac meter up there, the boys. I gotta give this thing a score, and like I said, I think so far to date, this is my favorite episode of the season, and just, it did all the things you wanted to do, man. I mean, we got Mobius back, we got that Hiddleston and Wilson back and forth, we got more dope action. I think Sophia DiMartino is just getting better and better. We got stuff for Wunmi Masaku and Gugu Mbatha Raw. Like, everybody came to play this week, and I think everything that we've liked from the first 3 episodes, they took a little bit of all that and sprinkled all of it into this episode. I mean, from the direction to the production value to the script to the score, like, everything was, you know, firing on all cylinders this week. So I'm going with my highest score to date and giving this week's episode of Loki a 4.8 C-Maniacs out of 5. We're so close. Like, somewhere between the next 2 episodes, I think we're gonna finally hit that first 5 C-Maniacs out of 5 C-Maniacs. Like, this episode was so good. I can't, like, I feel like it's gonna get better. I just don't know how they're gonna do that. Like, they could go so many places right now. So just because of the potential and what this did, 4.8 C-Maniacs out of 5 for the C-Man. That's all I got. Now it's your turn. Let me know what you're thinking. If you haven't watched this week's episode, you tuned into the old C-Man to get stoked. How hyped are you to watch this episode later on? What are you loving about the series? What do you hope you get this week? You know, just knowing the characters that are involved and a little bit that we talked about. If you have watched the episode, where does it fall for you? How much did you enjoy it? Was it not working for you? Don't spoil anything, but definitely give me all your thoughts about the episode that you can in a non-spoiler way down below in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man as we get ready to talk spoilers on Loki Episode 4. We got 2 more weeks. You want to be here for that. You just dig the general vibe of the old C-Man. You want to come in for other, you know, reviews and movie and television and trailer reactions. You just dig what we're doing. You want to show a little love support to the old C-Man, who is not a variant, but I tell you, I like me some variants. You want to support this guy who's not a variant, then jump over there, man. Join C-Maniac Nation by hitting that subscribe button. Hit that little bell if you want those alerts. Until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema, sit down. Now, I've been the C-Man, and I'm signing off. Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.